Thank you. It's an honor to be invited here to this beautiful city and this conference. I'm very happy to be here. I will talk about, I call it riding pleasure. It's a little fun with games, driving pleasure when you drive a car. But I will think like, maybe we need to make it more fun to use public transportation as well. So, I will talk about that. Just a few words about Karlstad, where I come from. It's a quite small city in the middle of Sweden. It's 87,000 people in the municipality, and in the urban city it's 65,000 people. And it's those 65,000 people that's my main focus. That's what I work with, developing good public transportation for. We have a university, and where I work, we are part of the city planning administration. So we are, in that way you can say, we are like a public transport authority. So we make public tenders to, have operators working for us. Some other facts about Karlstad. We have one of the best hockey teams in Sweden. We make great coffee. And really, really bad music. That's about what you need to know about Karlstad. So, here's a short movie from last summer where we introduced a complete new bus fleet. So we had this big party in the main square of Karlstad where we invited all the people to come there. So we had actually thousands of people showed up, and because we have invited them, we made this VIP invitation to all people in the city. And they got to see the new buses and celebrate it with us. And it was like a fantastic day. They got some coffee for free and stuff like that. And we had classical music playing at the square. And we had, made some decorations to our bus stops as well. So it was a very lovely day. And I will get back to that soon, but just a little more background on the work we do. We have a vision that it's easy to live without a car in Karlstad. We don't say that cars are necessarily bad, but we think that you shouldn't need to own one to live a good life in our city. And we also have two goals, and that's to double the travelers in public transportation until 2020, and to have the most satisfied customers in our business. And when you look at development, we started our work with, really improving public transports in 2005. Then we had 3.9 million travels in our city. And since then, we have increased each year until last year, when we had 6.5 million travelers. So that's an increase with over 65%, I think. So we're really happy with that development. And we also rank as number one when it comes to customer satisfaction in Sweden. So we're really happy with that as well. But looking at market share, you can see the blue one, that's public transportation, and the orange one, that's private travel with cars. So we see that there's still a lot of room for improvement. So, doubling this it's not impossible at all. So why is this so? There can be a lot of factors. One thing is that people think it's hard to use public transportation. And just to illustrate that and not talk about buses just for a minute, I will show you a film that Google has made about problems paying online. I think this applies to public transportation as well.
Hey, just that, thanks.
You sure?
Yeah.
Username?
Nick M?
No.
NM 1983?
No.
Zandy Pops?
Sorry.
Zandy Pops?
No, okay, don't worry, I'll help. What's your postcode?
Oh, it's GU749ZT.
Welcome back, Nick Forever.
Oh,
Please listen carefully to this bread license agreement before continuing with your purchase of a loaf of bread. If you do not, blah, blah, blah. You also agree not to use any bread-based products for any purposes prohibited by United Kingdom law, including without limitation the design, development, manufacture of missiles, chemical, nuclear or biological weapons.
Tick.
I'm afraid you've timed out.
What? Sorry. Hello? Excuse me. Oh, yeah, hey.
Just one loaf, sir.
Yeah, we just...
What's your username?
It's Nick Forever, but number 4, not the...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to check that you're a real person. Could you say that for me?
It's not even a word.
Okay, how about this one?
You know what, forget it.
Or this one?
Hippopotamus. Nice.
You're in.
Great, I'm in.
£8.85.
It's supposed to be 98 pence.
Plus express delivery.
What's that?
Oh, well, it's express delivery. It's fast. So there's, standard.
Standard.
Standard delivery, that's £4.99.
Why?
Bread insurance. You didn't untick the don't decline bread insurance option.
You know what, I think I'll risk it.
It is quite close to the sell-by date.
Don't care.
98 pence it is. If you want to pop back in 5 business days, it'll be ready for your collection.
Well, I need it now, obviously.
Oh, okay. You want the take-home today price? Well, that's £3.27.
You know what, I'm going to go.
Come back soon.
I won't.
Yeah, shopping online is meant to be easy, and taking public transportation is meant to be easy too. But another thing, and it of course the thing with people think it's hard to use public transport. It's also not very sexy, is it? I mean, car manufacturers, they have always been good at promoting their cars associated with freedom and stuff like that. Famous people. This is our most famous football player, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And I mean, compare that to standing there at the bus stop. It's not considered that fun, is it? I heard someone say that getting people out of their cars and into public transports is like getting people to quit smoking. It's that hard. Look at the car ad. This is a BMW, and you can see this is all about emotion. Faster piece, designed for driving pleasure. I mean, it creates a need in you to be someone who's successful, and you probably would feel successful if you had that car. And then we look at public transportation ads. And it's a little more boring, don't you think? It's a lot about, saving some money, and finally we have like a new card that you can use. And I don't know if people are that exciting about getting a new card for the bus ride. I also found this ad in a magazine. This is a few years old, but I mean, this says it all, does it? Route number 23, creeps and weirdos. Luckily, there's an affordable alternative. And I must say that I've seen more impressive cars than this one. But still, this is like the prejudice about public transportation. And it feels like you will just want to go and die or something. Because we will only be missed by all the creeps and the weirdos. Of course not. But it's up to us. I mean, we have to be the ones. We who work with public transportation, we need to be the ones that tells the story about public transportation and makes it a little more interesting and a little more fun, don't you think? And we all want this sustainable society, where we save the environment and stuff like that. But, to really make social change, we need to start with individual change. And to do individual change, we need to figure out what's going on inside here with people. And I work with this together with a researcher at the university in Karlstad. We developed this model for different needs in public transportation. And I could go on for an hour about this, I won't now. But what I can say about this is that the needs in public transportation, and in transportation in general, it's not just getting from A to B. People paying a fortune for a certain kind of car is proof of that. So there are also other things that makes us choose the way we do. And some of them could be like social life, status. What does people think about us when we use public transportation? Do they see me as a loser or something like that? But also other things like people love to tell a story. People love to have something beautiful to tell. And I still think that the best marketing is, of course, people telling other people about us in a positive way. And, this thing with design. This is the chief designer from Apple. He says like this: very often, design is the most immediate way to defining what products become in people's minds. So what he says is we are very judgmental. We see something and instantly we make up our mind if this is for us or not. And of course, if we didn't have smart people like Jony Ive at Apple, a smartphone would probably look something like this. Not so elegant packed, you think? And it's something with this picture that feels a little like a bus, don't you think? All kinds of different things we have put together and hope it works. For some perspective, this is 30 years of car development with Audi, from the late 70s until 2010. And you can see that they have adapted to, making the product more and more modern, and of course they need to make it so, because otherwise they wouldn't sell any cars, otherwise they would be out of the market. And if we look at trains, we don't have, these fancy high-speed trains in Sweden yet, but it's still, when you look at these pictures, you can see like a modern train communicates something. It communicates like a will of thinking forward, a society that wants to do something, that wants to be good for the environment and for people and stuff like that. And I would probably be right if I said that if you went with one of these high-speed trains, you would probably be happy to tell any of your friends that you went with one of them. So now, let's take a look at 30 years of bus development for city buses. This is the exact same time period. And you feel like, has anything happened? It's like the same square box that we've always seen. And of course, we started a project where we were, looking all over the world to see if there was other examples that didn't look exactly like this. This is, of course, city buses. And we found some quite good examples from France and from one from America. You see the bus from Las Vegas there. And I love this quote: "This is Las Vegas. We need to have something that looks different than your grandfather's bus." That's an American way of saying what I just said before. But the most interesting, I think, is one of his new customers, a hotel manager there in Las Vegas, that says, "This is the first time I've taken public transportation ever. And it's this effect that we want to create." And if we want to create that, we need to have something that feels new and feels exciting and just doesn't look like it did 30 years ago. And we have a project like that in Karlstad where we try to find a new way of doing public transportation with like a BRT-inspired route through our city. But we're not there yet. We have like a vision how this would look. The picture above, that's like the traditional bus route net, where everything goes into the city center. But the BRT-inspired concept that we have, that we hope that we could do somewhere in the earliest 2021, it's like more where we have these BRT routes that are very prioritized, where we can have a bus every 5 minutes and then have smaller buses that goes into the system. That way we could actually have regular routes all over the city with quite high frequency and still have less buses in the city center. But this is not, I will go back to reality now, or where we are at the moment. I found this picture a few years ago, the iDrive. This was a joke then. But it starts to get reality, actually. This is Apple's take on it. They call it CarPlay. So it happens a lot, with mobile technology going into transportation. But I still think, even if we would have that in our cars, I would still say that you cannot really experience, the full potential of a mobile internet while driving. It's still a limitation. And I think still that it's one of the key things that we need to work on, to get people out of the cars into public transport. Because people are insanely addicted to their mobile devices. I mean, I heard a researcher who said like a mobile device is as addictive as heroin. So we should really leverage that into public transports, and that's one of the things that I think we can say, that you can have fun while traveling. So this is a picture of the old buses in Karlstad, and I don't know if riding pleasure is the first thing that comes to your mind. Very limited to communicate with our customers. A next bus stop sign, and printed signs in the windows. You've seen those. At the same time, we have developed our communications in many other areas. We developed a route map with color-coded bus routes that's very easy to read, very easy to understand. And we built on that information logic with great travel planner with integrated street view. You can see the bus stop and stuff like that. We were one of the first in Sweden to have a real-time app for Android and iPhone. But we were still stuck, with those old buses that really didn't communicate this information logic. Until last summer, when we got new buses. Now we have these color-coded displays on our buses, not just on the front, but also on both sides and even on the rear. And I really believe that making it easy to find the right bus is making it fun to use the bus. I mean, people hate to be stupid. They hate to feel stupid. They want to understand this for themselves without having to read some manual or something like that. And we did our best, to make these. I mean, these aren't super expensive tram-like buses. These are standard buses, but we tried to make them as modern as we could. And we integrated a lot of new technology into them. We have free Wi-Fi for our customers with 4G connection. We have air condition in all of our buses. We worked with the design. You can see like there's wood panels on the side. It feels a little more like you would expect from a train. And we also have an exciting infotainment system that we call Bus TV. So I will just show you Bus TV. And I think this really enhances the feel you have when you go on the buses. We have people sending in pictures from us. We get like 50 or 100 pictures every week. We can see bus changes in real time on the screens. We have news, weather and sports delivered by one of the largest TV channels in Sweden. And we also have some people with local TV experience that creates a lot of local content for this channel, so people recognize their friends and themselves and stuff like that. And this is, of course, financed by commercials. And hopefully, a thing like this can, give people something to tell when they come to work, where they're sitting there drinking coffee. I took the bus to work and I saw this guy on the bus. It was really funny or something like that. Yeah. So the reason we did this Bus TV thing, that was to improve our customer communication. We can use real-time information, we can inform about traffic changes and stuff like that. And we have 3 to 4 monitors per bus. They're quite large, up to 26 inch, and it works really good, I think. And one thing that I have to point out is it's a GPS-controlled playlist. That means that we can, have unique content played on that bus at that time. So I will just show you some examples of location-based infotainment. Of course, the obvious one is when you go to a bus stop. Here's some traffic information. Maybe the bus is, yeah, and here you have a commercial that's position-based. You're closing into McDonald's. And here is a historic place. We can tell a story about that when you pass by it. So there are a lot of options here, and we have just started to scratch the surface about this, so we can really continue to develop this thing over the years. And to market this, you know, I heard a marketing guru once say, like, the cardinal sin of marketing is being boring. So you can do a lot of wrong things when it comes to marketing, but being boring is the worst thing you can do. So we came up with this concept, a place for you. And the Swedish word for place, it can actually mean a lot of things. It can mean the seat on the bus. It could also mean like public transportation as a place, you know, with the bus stop and all of that, you know, the environment around public transportation. But it also means like the place where you are going to or coming from or something like that. So we thought like that sums it up. We want to make people feel like this is a place for them. And we did this with a 3-step campaign. First, we started out without telling anyone that it was, you know, public transportation. We just put this message, a place for you. And we have like a hidden camera clip of this. So we put out chairs, hundreds of chairs all over the city. Kept people wondering, what's this, a place for you? Wow. Says who? So we did that for a week. We also put some on, you know, cars and bikes. That was a little hint, maybe. Second step, you know, we had like these Euro-sized posters, but just to make people a little more curious, we covered them up for a few days. So people were wondering, well, what's that? So I have a little clip from that too. And the music you hear, we also embedded on some of these a hidden music player, so it played classical music to make people even more curious about what's behind. So it was this message, a place for you, and this was like the invitation to the main square. I mean, the first video I showed you where we had people coming to celebrate with us. So it was like part of that to get people there. But we also wanted to, you know, have something more, like not only this event on the main square. So since we have started this with bus TV, we felt like we need to go more into, you know, moving commercials, not just printed signs, if you know what I mean, because that was what we were doing before. So, and we thought like, people often say, when you say like you work with buses, they say, oh, that's not very sexy. So we thought like, maybe we can make the bus a little provocative. I don't know if anyone have seen our commercial in some place, but we wanted to communicate that and maybe be a little provocative and make, you know, objectify the bus a little. So we made this commercial, and this is also a love story between the citizens of Karlstad and us as a company. So I think I will explain a little later. So it's a little French love theme. This.
Vous êtes si grand, mon bébé, reste avec moi. Une place pour vous, une place pour moi, une place pour tout. Je t'aime, mon bébé. Les baguettes sont chaudes. Je t'aime.
There are our newborn buses, you know, with more seats, air-conditioned Wi-Fi and TV. Yeah, and there you have this, a place for you again. So we wanted to communicate that this is a place for you. Yeah. Thank you. So, and we actually did a variation with another film that I wanted to show you. Yeah, we have time for that. You know, we had Winter Olympics this year. And we thought like we wanted to have more people, you know, filling up their you know, period tickets online. So we thought like we need to have an offer, a special offer during the Olympics. So we made this movie. I translated it
Man
into
kan
English.
åka på så många olika sätt. Vissa tar dig hela vägen till dina drömmars mål. Med oss åker du till andra änden av stan. Men det är ju också rätt bra. Så köp ett 30-dagarskort på Karlstadsbuss webbshop i februari och få en veckas åkande på köpet.
It's a very easy message. I mean, get the 30-day period ticket and get an extra week for free. It's a little retail-inspired offer, but it really worked well. I mean, I think we had like 300% more people doing their 30-day tickets online than we had, you know, the month before. So that was good. So that was really my message. So I would end up this by saying, let's have fun, be creative, and save the world. That's what I believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. It was really
Thank
fun.
you.
I was just wondering, as a curious journalist, a bloody hell journalist, for all those whistles and bells and all the stuff, all the fancy marketing you did, how much criticism you got from journalists and from media because you were wasting taxpayers' money on some sort of fancy things instead of developing or buying better buses?
No, I wouldn't say that we're wasting taxpayers' money. I would say it's responsible to, you know, making sure that we fill up these new buses.
Okay.
So,
Nüüd on teie küsimused. Let's figure out how to do it. Kuidas me seda teeme, et kas te küsite inglise keeles, jah? He will ask you in English.
Yep. Good.
Thank you. Actually, you already asked half of my question because I had the same question when I saw a Danish TV ad, The Bus.
Yeah.
You have seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Exactly, and I have always thought that, you know, if the transport authorities and people responsible for public transport would at one point count the costs to the marketing and the revenue that they get from, what is your result? Have you seen any, how to say, effectiveness from these advertisements and costs?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have increased our, you know, the passengers on our buses quite a lot, as I showed you in the beginning. And I think like you have to put marketing costs into perspective. I mean, the production of public transport, I mean, marketing is not the big cost. I mean, it's you know, salaries and you know, gas for the buses and stuff like that. That's the big costs that you have. So I think when you put it into that perspective and you think like we really want to kick something off that's going to last for a few years, then maybe it's not that much money. So I think it's well spent. Because I mean that's really one of the things that comes from my experience when it comes to public transportation. It's like we are really good at, you know, producing public transportation at a very high level of quality, but people aren't aware of it. They don't know the things that we do. So I think that's one of the things that maybe we in public transportation does wrong. We should communicate a lot more about what we're doing, because we are doing great things. Yeah.
Well, I have a question, Robert.
Yep.
You showed those fancy foreign trains which even you in Sweden can't afford yet, but I love them. But your presentation was so much stuck to the asphalt.
Yeah.
So my question to you is to look more forward. What about the possibility to develop monorail? Teate küll, Eestis ka monorails, mis sõidab nagu ühe maast lahti tõstetud ja sõidab üleval väga vaikselt, väga suure kiirusega ja väga efektiivselt. So why not look a little bit above the asphalt and also develop a monorail in Karlstad? Would that be possible?
I would be happy to do it. Obviously. I mean, I think we shouldn't be afraid of new solutions. Maybe we're not there yet in Karlstad. I mean, doing something like I showed you, still on the ground, is a big step for us. But I mean, if we look even more, like 50 years ahead or something like that, maybe that should be our next vision. I don't know, because you know, when it comes to public transportation, I mean, the issues that we have is like we want to make things, you know, going with electricity. That's a big trend. That's all of the manufacturers are working for. But it's still problems, you know, with battery life and stuff like that. If you had a monorail, you could probably incorporate that into the monorail, so you wouldn't have the battery problem. But also, when it comes to city, you have the problem with space, and you know, to have all these, you know, cars and buses and trams and stuff like that, and they all want to be prioritized. So, of course, if you could put it on another level, it would be easier. You could have like the perfect prioritization everywhere. So I would be happy to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.